And Ma's got an interesting question here. It says, recently I came to know this fact that we had broken the fourth commandment of God up to now, but what should be my answer to friends of mine when they keep saying to me that you will go under God's curse if you follow the law in the Old Testament, or are no longer under the law? As a dear believer, started keeping the Sabbath in 2013, died of cancer last year. And then she gives an example of an email that was sent to her by a Christian friend, trying to keep her from keeping the commandments of the law, keeping Sabbath. This friend writes, there are 43 places in the Old Testament where they were called perpetual lasting ordinances, statute says in Leviticus. This is a lasting ordinance for you. Atonement is to be made once a year for all the sins of the Israelites. Jesus has atoned for all sins, so it's no longer a perpetual ordinance. The Hebrew word that is used is olam, which can also be translated as a long time. Read through Hebrews and Romans, and you may find these books helpful in understanding the relationship of the Old Covenant to the New Covenant that Jesus made with us. Love is the law for the New Covenant. It is the new commandment Jesus gave, and if you love like Jesus, you'll fulfill all the requirements of the law and prophets. This is what Yeshua said, may the Lord bless you continually. So basically, she's starting to keep Sabbath, but her Christian friends are taking issue with her, saying she's doing something inappropriate. And this is the argument that's being made by her Christian friends. I love this argument. You know where it comes from? From the Torah. I find it ironic that she would be citing all the principles of the Torah to explain why the Torah goes away. And you know what that really reflects? Sheer ignorance on her part. She understands nothing about what Yeshua really taught, nor what did Moses teach. Now, we who are messianic, the reason why we see the keeping of commandments is because they are the commandments of Yeshua. They originated from He is the creator. Yeshua is the lawgiver. He was at Mount Sinai. He spoke the commandments to the people. And when He came to us doing the work of redemption, He referred to those commandments and all of the instructions in there, instructing us that we should love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, and might, which is the whole law. And He taught the principles. He did not teach new commandments. He taught the same commandments. And He came not to abolish the law, but to fill it up full of meaning, to fulfill it. But Christians, denying the commandments of the Lord, try to say that Yeshua came to abolish it, to do away with it. So, Ma, let me give you one answer for this person and your friends to do it. And the answer is Acts chapter 6, verses 13 and 14. What you're going to read there is the New Testament now is describing the word of false witnesses. It specifically says, this is the testimony of false witnesses. And they said, the false witnesses said this, that this man is teaching that Jesus came for the purpose to do away with the law, the temple service, and the customs of Moses. Now, the New Testament says those are the words of false witnesses. So that statement that Jesus came to do away with the commandments, the law, the temple service, and the customs of Moses is absolutely false. The New Testament says it. Yet they do not understand and cannot even read the words of the New Testament. That is how fundamentally, absolutely flawed the church has mistaught what the Messiah came to do. And in truth of fact, they are guilty of the sin of blasphemy. They have taken holy things that Messiah taught and called them unholy. And it's sad. And I mean, it is a huge paradigm. Let me encourage you, Ma. You stick with what the Lord has said and stop listening to people and other men and other men's teachings. You just follow what the Lord has said, and you will do well. And when he calls upon you to follow his word and keep his commandments, everything you're doing is completely consistent with what the Messiah Yeshua has taught us as well. Do not listen to the commentary of men, the precepts of men. This is what Yeshua said about religious leaders in his own day. You prefer the precepts of men to the commandments of God. If Yeshua was here today, he would be saying the same statement to churchmen. You prefer the precepts of men to the commandments of God. So stick to your guns and just follow what the Lord says.
Yahweh, if you give